textbook for this class is Essentials in Children's Literature. It's a good basic introduction to using children's literature, particularly in a classroom setting. If that is not what you're planning on doing, don't worry, we're going to think about this much more broadly. How do you do this in a library? How do you do this as a creative writer? But this textbook has some great rubrics, lists, theories, perspectives that you all can use in your analysis of children's literature and use to approach children's literature in different ways. This, however, is not something that you need to be memorizing or studying deeply. A lot of this is stuff that maybe you can skim until you get to something that really interests or engages you. Because in our lectures, I will go over, or at least give you a highlight of the things that I think you really need to pay attention to in the different chapters. So I've assigned you 2 chapters, but if you notice, you can skim through chapter 1. That's just an introduction. Has some great thoughts about children's literature, some great ways to start perhaps articulating your own approach to literature. But in chapter 2, I think it had some more useful terms, definitions, lists, that lists of strategies, lists of ways to approach literature, and also things like how do you connect with resistant readers? Here's some strategies. So know these things, but this should not be something that you are memorizing for factual content the way perhaps you would with a science textbook or mathematics. So that's my approach to literature, and we'll be talking about it in our different lectures. So as you can see here, the things that we're looking at in Essentials to Children's Literature this week are, 1, the introduction, which gets into sort of the purpose of studying a subject like this, which is how do we connect children to literature, whether you're thinking of doing that from a creative perspective or a teaching perspective or some other perspective. It's about engaging that audience because we know and we value connecting with kids through lit. Know these different terms. These terms are ways that you can speak academically about how, why, when Kids Lit works. Also, know some of these lists, the appealing formats and structures, the high interest content. That is, what are different things that you could evaluate to understand why a child might want to read Journey, why it's working. These are things you probably already feel in reading the book yourself, but the list articulates it and gives you a source for why these things are valuable. So you can say, as Short and Quieto say in Essentials to Children's Literature, here are high interest things, and I noticed them in Journey. So it's really just giving you language to articulate what you probably already experienced. Evaluating complexity, that's going to be really important when we're getting to books like, it's backwards and upside down, Milo Imagines the World, because this has layers and layers of meaning based on illustrator Christian Robinson's life experiences, as he says in an interview with NPR. And that is something that we are going to be looking at in depth in the future, relying on our text. But having this list is a great place to start with our analysis. And then finally, connecting with resistant readers. I don't know about you, but I was definitely a resistant reader. I did not want to know what a cat in a hat was doing with a fish and some kids. Or why he would eat green eggs. You know what, if eggs are green, they're probably moldy. So how do you connect with a reader like me, who was just the worst when I was little? Knowing those strategies is probably the most valuable learning experience that you can have. Connecting with readers who are like you is going to be easy. You already know the sorts of things that they would like because they read the way you do. But connecting with that reader who doesn't do it, this is a great place to start to think about, okay, what are other ways that I can build these connections? So that is the sort of quick thumbnail of our reading, and we will get into actually practicing it coming up next.